Alright, so I don't know how this is going to go, but I got a request. Somebody commented saying that they would like to see a video, multiple videos, explaining some of the backstories of some of the predators that were caught on TCAP / Hansen vs. Predator. So I'm going to give that a whirl here today. I got a lot of stuff I got to do today, but fuck it, I'm going to put it off a little bit more here to talk about John Dupee. So we're going to talk a little bit about John Dupee's backstory here. I said this during my initial commentary of John Dupee. He was the predator that first kind of drew me in. I mean, it's kind of ironic. Drew me in. He's a sex predator. He kind of drew me in, but he was the guy who got me kind of started into this shit. So I figured it'd be appropriate to kind of start with him. There is a lot of information out on the guy. There's probably more information about John Dupee than there is about any of the other predators from the HVP sting. And I mean, Jesse Velez, there's some info about him. He was before he ran Jersey Mike's, he ran a Sprint or T-Mobile store. I think it was T-Mobile that got robbed like twice in one night. And so there's a video of that out there I can maybe show you if you want. But yeah, that was notable about him. And then as far as the rest of the HVP guys, there's not really much out there about them. There is a picture of Vincent Ambrosio's high school yearbook photo that he failed. He failed high school. I had no motivation to go finish it. But anyways, so we're going to talk a little bit about John Dupee's backstory and then some things that happened to him while he was in prison. There's some he is an interesting predator, so that's why. So the first thing is, not many people might know this. He was arrested prior to the sting. I'm looking at an article right now, and it's dated 2013. For some reason I thought it was 2011, but I guess it's 2013. So he's kind of like the Lauren Armstrong, where when Lauren Armstrong got trolled by many women, and then he got trolled on the biggest troll was Kayla Moore, and he ended up on To Catch a Predator. But John Dupee also got trolled prior to his appearance on Hansen vs. Predator. This time not by a catfish, but he was a part of a drug bust, and according to this article that I'm reading here, this was in Norwalk. Where the hell was this? Westport, Connecticut, I guess. No, Norwalk. Okay. So there was a guy who was a drug dealer who got pulled over on the side of the road. I guess they were in a park. And so the drug dealer was approached by not John Dupee, this guy. His name is Tony, apparently. So he was at a park late at night one day when the police approached him, and they found Oxycontin and drug paraphernalia inside of it. And so as they were searching his car, as they were searching the guy's car, the drug dealer's car, they see his phone, and a message comes in from our boy Johnny Connecticut, and it says, hang on, I want to make sure I have the exact line here. It says, so somebody sent a message to Dupee, sent a message during this that said, hang on one second, guys. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. I actually found something pretty interesting. I'll get to that afterwards. But anyway, so they were at the park arresting the drug dealer, and then a message comes into the guy's phone which says, from Johnny Connecticut, John Dupee, saying, yo, are you around? I need 10. This is 10 of Oxycontin, I'm assuming. It doesn't actually say what it was, but I'm assuming it was Oxycontin. So the cop, pretending to be John Dupee, pretending to be the drug dealer, sends a message back to John Dupee saying, yeah, come through, come through. So John Dupee shows up in the car that he said he was going to show up, and then they arrested him. So that was how John Dupee was first arrested. So I found that quite humorous. John Dupee got pretty trolled right there, pretty hard. And so that's how John Dupee, I believe he was on probation still at the time of the HVP sting. So that's why he's sobbing. I think he's sobbing so much in the interrogation, because he's in a lot more trouble now. So that is part 1 of John Dupee. And then I just found this as I was reading the article that I was reading. I found John Dupee's old home in Norwalk. And so I'm going to put it up right here. I'm going to try to put it up. I don't know if it will. But yes, it's right here. And so this is 7 Center Ave in Norwalk, Connecticut. So it's, I mean, I don't know the demographics of Norwalk. I don't really know much about Norwalk, Connecticut, but just looking around the maps here on Google Maps, it doesn't look like a very wealthy town. I mean, you can tell by the cars that are on the street. Most of them are older. This picture was from 2016. And there aren't many new cars on the road. A lot of them look like they're at least 10 years old. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how John Dupee afforded this, if he was living, I mean, he is a freeloader, so I assume he was maybe living with his parents, or somebody. But yeah, John Dupee, his old house on 7 Center Ave, is right here. There's some trash bags out there, trash cans, recycling. At least he's a recycler. But yes, so this was the house that John Dupee was once living in. Not much else to say about that, but I just found that, so that is pretty interesting. John Dupee did that. I'm going to actually just pause for 1 second again, guys. Alright, so now getting back to it. So basically that was what happened to John Dupee on the road to the sting. And so later on, or I guess this one needs a little bit more of a backstory. This doesn't have anything to directly do with John Dupee. It has to do with his brother. So it looks like in 2011, his brother Brandon, so Brandon Dupee, won the lottery. He won the lottery, and he split it with his old neighbor, his 90-year-old neighbor. So after taxes, they each received $342,000. Not a bad chunk of change for somebody like Brandon Dupee. It doesn't say, oh, he was 27, so this was in 2011, so he was 27. So he's younger than John Dupee is. So he won the lottery. That's just a bit of a backstory to the real second part here of John Dupee. So here is his brother. I'm going to put up a picture of his brother, if I can pull one up. Okay, so there's his, I'm going to just make sure that I grab that. I'm just going to grab and save it real quick, so give me 1 second again. Alright, so back here again. So now the final part of John Dupee's backstory that I want to talk about is his brother again. So this was in 2016, late December, so December 2016. So John Dupee was already in prison at this point, after he was sentenced for his actions in the sting. So his brother, John Dupee's brother again, Brandon, this time. We're talking about Brandon still. So this is the same guy who won the lottery. So this So he was he was arrested for driving under the influence and drug possession. So that was that. So he was released from custody on a Tuesday night, and or Tuesday afternoon, I should say. He was released, and then he was released from being a for his drunk driving, right? Basically, is driving under the influence. So that same night, he goes out with his sister. The same sister that drove John Dupee to the Sting house in Fairfield. So it's all connected here. So those two are out. I don't know where they were going. But late in the evening, so it's Wednesday morning at this point. So it's like probably 1 in the morning or so. That same day that he was just released from jail, he's out driving drunk again. And this time, it's a fatal car crash that kills both John Dupee's brother, and his sister, Lindsay Dupee, who was 31 at the time. So both younger than John Dupee. So while their brother is in prison, they're out driving drunk. Brandon Dupee doing it and getting arrested for it, doing it again the same day. This time, it ends up with a fatal car crash killing him and his sister in a fiery car wreck on Sunfield Lane. So it's just off of I-95. I'm going to try to pull it up. I don't know. You know, it's probably, I'm assuming it's a main road. So I won't be able to get a good idea of what it is just from one screenshot. But, so it looks like there's a Starbucks. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty much a main road. There's like a condo complex, it looks like. A Southwest Bar and Grill. So it's actually like a little bit of a residential place. But yes. So you can find anything on the internet, man. I just found another thing. Give me a second. I'm going to go read it. Alright, yeah. So I definitely found some more stuff here. Some good stuff. So I'm going to include some more screenshots. But yeah, so it was a Honda Accord, 2010 Honda Accord that was speeding and crashed into some trees. I'm looking, like, the damage here that I'm looking at is pretty gruesome. I mean, this is a bad wreck, a very bad wreck. And they were pronounced dead at the scene. That's how you know it's bad. I mean, yeah, it doesn't look very good. Yeah, just looking through some of these, man, it's not pretty, but yeah. So they called Brandon Dupee was the brother, so now the brother had just recently moved to Fairfield from Bridgeport, and they were him and the sister Lindsay Dupee were living together. He used that lottery money to buy a house, and they lived together. And so they did that, but then he moved to Bridgeport after that. So they sold the house. I guess they maybe couldn't afford to pay the taxes on it or what. But yes, he moved out, moved to Bridgeport. And so that was that. So, but then he moved back to Fairfield. So they were living together at that point also. And apparently, according to this, they were very well respected as a family. Yes, maybe they cut John Dupee out of the family, who knows, but yeah, Brandon Dupee was unemployed at the time. He was studying to get his commercial driver's license. He could have been like the new Lauren Armstrong, and he worked as a carpenter, just like Lauren Armstrong. I mean, was Lauren really a carpenter? I mean, he did stuff like that. But yeah, he went for a job for carpentry. You know, name another place for handyman work. You know, doing like construction work, stuff like that. He did carpentry. The one for carpentry that pays $17 to $18 an hour. That's what he said, right? Yeah. And Lindsay Dupee was a retail. She worked in retail. She was working at Babies R Us. They were apparently they were stand-up people. I don't know what went wrong with John Dupee, but yeah. So that's sad for. I mean, sad for the family. John Dupee was sitting in prison while this was happening. So that must have been rough for John Dupee to sit in prison while that was happening. I don't know how it works going to a funeral when you're an inmate. Maybe someone knows. But yeah, John Dupee must have been devastated. So that's basically it. Some backstory about John Dupee. Yeah, so he got trolled by police at one point, and then his brother, a lottery winner, and the sister who drove him to the Sting house, both killed in a car crash when he was in prison. Now he's out. He's an RSO. You can find his RSO photo. Give me 1 second again. I'm going to try to pull it up. Yeah, so, yeah, John Dupee. I just checked, actually. So he looks like he moved. He was living in a, not a homeless shelter. I like a place for ex-offenders or former offenders, I guess. But it looks like he moved, and so now he lives. I think it's a shared house. So while the house, yeah, I mean, like you can see in the photo from Google Maps, there's two different people, you know, who don't look like they are related. So yeah, I believe it's some sort of shared house where he like probably rents a room or something. The way that they do RSOs in Connecticut, you're kind of basically relying on secondary information. It's not like the state has a public thing that you can just check, like it is with Lauren Armstrong in Maine, where you can see their place of employment, their last address, things like that. So it's a bit different. So I'm kind of just trusting that this is true, but it says he lives on the first floor of this house here, and we can't really see it. Also, there's a fucking tree in the way. But yes, so that's John Dupee. That's pretty much it. I mean, I want to know more, actually, but that's all the public information that we've got. So he was released in July of 2018, and so yeah, he was his last verification date was November of 2019. So we didn't get a new RSO picture, which is a bit odd. But yes, so that should do it. I'll try to make more of these if I feel like it's worthy of one. If I feel like one is worthy of being made, I can do that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys